welcome to episode 19 of the Endgame series. Thank you guys for watching the previous episode in this Endgame series, which was Black Panther with John from The Real Talk. It was an amazing episode and great to talk with John once again. But now I think this is like the most anticipated Endgame episode for me because this is a special film for a lot of MCU fans. It was the 10-year buildup that we've all been waiting for. And this is the Endgame episode, Avengers Infinity War. You guys know what this movie is. Directed by the Russo brothers, starring an A-list talent of all the Marvel superheroes who you've known in the past MCU films. And this is the culmination that lived up to the hype. And I have an amazing guest here with me today. He's been on the channel multiple times, a huge Rotten or Fresh fan favorite. I just love this guy personally. He's one of my favorite YouTubers in this community. He is such a great personality. He's very funny. Larry, welcome to the Endgame series, man. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this series. I know we're getting super excited. The end game for us fans is almost here. We're in that final stretch. So I'm excited to come on here, be a part of the series, and talk about Infinity War.
We want you guys to chime in below in the comment section. Don't just tell us what you thought about Infinity War, but we have questions along with this. This is an in-depth discussion about Infinity War. So leave your answers down below in the comment section and tell us your thoughts about the film. And let's have a great, lively discussion down below. Let's start with the first question, man. What was your first experience with Avengers Infinity War? Did you see it at an early screening, opening night? What was your first experience?
I wish I had seen it at an early screening, but I did see it opening night at one of the big Marvel fan events. Had to make sure to get my little coin at the fan event. But yeah, I was super excited. I saw it a second time that same week. I ended up seeing it 3 times while it was still in the theater. Once in IMAX, the other ones, I think one was in like Cinemark XD. The other one was just regular. But yeah, it was a packed house, obviously, and it was a fun experience.
This is like the Super Bowl of like movies. Like
Yeah,
this is the most anticipated film of all time for me personally.
yeah.
Just because it's a 10-year buildup of a franchise I love, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was a gigantic event film. There's very rare event films out there for geeks and nerds. Like endings to franchises, like Lord of the Rings Return of the King's an event film, like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 is an event film. And now we come to the Avengers and Infinity War. Like this is a big gigantic film with all these actors and Thanos, the biggest, baddest comic book villain from Marvel. And so my experience, sold out theater, like this is the most packed event I've been to in a while. And it was full of a big theater, and the movie was absolutely incredible. You guys know this. This is my favorite MCU film, one of my favorite films last year next to Fallout. And the experience is what just made this movie so incredibly good. And we'll talk about the experiences later on. But yeah, that was definitely my experience with Infinity War. One of the best movie theater experiences I've ever had in my life.
It's one of those awesome films that has like that community feeling where every single time I saw it in the theater, there were moments where people just couldn't help but cheer during
Yeah.
aspects. Like you got audible reactions out of fans every time I saw it. So it was just cool to be there amongst all these other people who obviously were super pumped to see this with you and experience this like 10-year event come to the big screen.
Awesome. And I think that leads to the next question, Larry. Talk about the thing that made this movie so special.
It's kind of transcended film. Really, it is an event. It was a pop culture phenomenon, if you will. The MCU, in and of itself, has kind of taken its own carve out of pop culture, and it accumulated 10 years to lead up to a film of this magnitude. And once we had the original Avengers, that was kind of a real big event film within the MCU. And to get a film that may even top the original Avengers, the first time we got multiple heroes on the big screen together, and be able to top that in scope, in size, in grandeur, I mean, that's amazing. And then, of course, when you get the film and it was this much fun, it was this awesome, it had this many iconic moments, that all adds up to just a pretty remarkable film experience.
Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is the biggest reason why this movie is so special. Like this whole universe. Like he took a chance on Robert Downey Jr. to play Tony Stark slash Iron Man. I mean, if Iron Man wasn't good, we wouldn't have had Infinity War. We wouldn't have had an MCU. So you could thank Kevin Feige. And you could also thank Stan Lee. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. Like he created most of these characters, and it's just the passions as well from the Russo brothers who directed this movie, Anthony and Joe Russo, and the screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. They write incredible scripts for the MCU. It's just the crew needs to be mentioned more than just the actors.
Yeah.
And the actors bring these characters to life. Like all of these actors are so good as their roles, and they all contributed to this film being as special and impactful as it is. And going back to the first Avengers film was a landmark in cinema of bringing together Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk. No one ever thought that could happen. Like, no one ever thought an Avengers movie could happen, and it did. It made so much money in the box office, and it was a financial critical success. And Infinity War had a tougher task because he brought in a bunch of more characters in it. And it succeeded even more just because of the impact that it had. The ending, all the characters, and just the action is what we'll talk about for sure. But yeah, you definitely have to look at Kevin Feige because Kevin Feige definitely made this work.
Well, we've seen it. I mean, he has a special place in history himself because other studio executives have certainly tried to replicate what the MCU has done. Even after they did it, they had kind of a map to go off of, and nobody else has been able to replicate the formula. Obviously, nobody before was able to replicate the formula, and to have such a vision before you even get started, really, and be able to map out now 10 plus years worth of film and world building, it's really an incredible feat.
Were you a little bit worried, when you heard the announcement Infinity War was coming out, that it was going to be split into two parts, two different Avengers movies? Were you a little concerned, how are they going to integrate over 40 characters into this movie? Were you a little concerned about that?
Yeah, I mostly have faith in Marvel. I think we all were pumped, but a little bit concerned with that first Avengers film. And then obviously with just that small team, they were able to pull it off pretty much with ease. So I think it's always a little bit of a fear. You love all the characters, obviously, but everybody kind of has like our favorite characters within the MCU that we enjoy spending the time with. So you don't want your favorite character to get shafted, certainly. And then it's a thing of screen time and actually screenwriting of, can the screenwriters pull this off? They have so many characters. Are all the characters going to be used, or are they just going to be standing in the background useless and might as well not have a name? Are they all going to have at least a moment in the film? You have to have purpose behind just throwing characters in to throwing them in. That's not great screenwriting. So I was definitely nervous that's a tough task to do, and I think they did accomplish it, but I was certainly nervous going in.
I've come to the fact, Marvel has earned the right to take my money. I trust Marvel. That's what Durbin said. I love that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, you got I've given Marvel a chance for every movie that they made. Guardians of the Galaxy was not excited that much, and then Ant-Man 2 was like, really, Doctor Strange, and it works. In Infinity War, I wasn't that nervous like I was with Doctor Strange and all of them, but I was a little cautious and concerned. How are they going to balance out my favorite characters? Or my favorite character is going to get the most screen time for sure. But I was very pleased with how the Russo brothers managed each and every single character and given them their moments to shine, as well as Thanos. Making Thanos the main character of the movie was the smartest choice they could have made. They really fleshed him out extremely well, and they fleshed out other characters' arcs extremely well as well. Let's talk about the next question, Larry. What was your favorite pairing of heroes into this movie?
My favorite pairing, this might go back to, your favorite character in the film, but my favorite pairing was the Thor Rocket Groot, really Thor with the Guardians in general.
Yeah.
But even when it was just Thor with Rocket basically and Groot chilling, I loved it. I thought they worked so well together. I love that throughout the entire film, Thor kept just being like, "Rabbit, go!"
The
like
rabbit is correct.
just like yelling "Rabbit" and Rocket. I thought was just such a random but really funny thing through the whole film. And then I love that Groot is absentee-minded, like teenager, out of it, kind of minded for so much of the film, but it comes into saving Thor's life, basically, that kind of pulls him into the film and brings him back to being a hero. So it worked a lot. I thought Thor as a character was the most well developed of any of our heroes. I thought he got the biggest arc. He really this kind of was next to Ragnarok. I would say this is maybe Thor's like shining moment so far in the entire MCU. So I really enjoyed everything about that. And then the Guardians, when they were just them as well, they got a lot to do. Of course, when they meet him and you have like that. That's not a dude. That's a man. You're a dude.
You're not. That's not a dude. You're a dude. Yes.
Gamora, like just like running her hands over his arms.
Stop massaging his mouth.
Even Star-Lord changing his voice, like everything about them interacting with Thor was great to me.
I agree with you. Thor's the best well-developed hero in this film. Thor goes through a lot in this movie. Oh my God, the opening scene.
Right from the opening scene.
Right from the opening scene. This guy has lost his mother, he's lost his father, he lost his brother, and he lost freaking Heimdall. Man, this guy's lost everybody. So, yeah, man, they really did Thor extremely well in this movie. And making him balance the serious Thor with the comedic Thor really worked extremely well. And yes.
And even getting Rocket some development. Like, I really thought that was a great scene between he and Rocket kind of like talking. And it's like, oh, look at Rocket stepping up, being the captain he's pretended to be. I thought that was a nice moment, too.
Well, he's never fought me. Well, he's never fought me twice. But yeah, him and
Only
Rocket.
If I die. That's what it means.
yeah, that's what getting you means. Yeah, I really love Thor with the Guardians. Like, those were some of the funniest parts. The Guardians in this movie. Oh my God. If you ask me, my favorite pairing, it's Doctor Strange and Tony. Like, that is just. I loved all the stuff with Tony, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and all of them in New York. Hulk as well. I love the introduction. You see Tony Stark and all that. You brought in with Doctor Strange. Tony Stark, I'm Dr. Stephen Strange. I need you to come with me. And then just to see those two button heads back and forth. And are you seriously leaning on the cauldron of the cosmos? And then just talking back and forth. What have you, a doctor of mystery? Protecting your reality, douchebag. Oh my God. Like, all that was just so good. And Doctor Strange, too. Doctor Strange, let's talk about him.
Yeah,
I did not.
Number 2 behind Thor.
Doctor Strange, the 2016 film, that's one of the more overrated MCU movies. I didn't love Doctor Strange, but he's so much better than Infinity War. He's so good in that movie. Like, all his quips and his lines. And Thor Ragnarok, too. He's really funny with Thor. He's a Benedict Cumberbatch. Him and Tony Stark, their back and forth are awesome. And to see Doctor Strange using his powers and what he's become. Yes. Oh my God. That scene with Thanos in the Battle of Titan, like some of the best parts. We'll talk about that later. And
I loved even like Peter and Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Of course, I love Peter's relationship with Tony already, but getting to see even just their like opening, oh, okay, we're using our made up names.
Peter, by the way, Doctor Strange. I love how they changed it from the trailer and the marketing. It's just like Doctor Strange and not Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So let's go to the next question, Larry. Oh man, I have a feeling you're gonna take my pick. But let's talk about our favorite scenes, because it's impossible to pick a favorite scene in this movie. But talk about your favorite scene.
So I talked about how much I love Thor, so we're rocking right in. My favorite scene of the film, it was one of those moments that the entire theater cheered, and I get pumped every time. Yes, Thor rocketing into Wakanda, just amazing. I love even the like more minor parts, seeing the other Avengers being like, "Oh, he is alive. We thought he was dead," and he just came and starts whooping ass and saving us all. But
And Alan
yes,
Silvestri's score.
amazing.
Bring me Thanos!
Yes, the visuals were beautiful. I think Thor has another great moment. Of course, Thanos kind of, quips back at him. Thor's other great moment of again, Thanos has succeeded, and he just comes pushing through and is able to yield the Stormbreaker through his like beam. um,
I told you, you die for that.
It's a great moment.
Yeah.
Both of those really kind of helped Thor's arc. He completed his arc in Wakanda with these like amazing moments after all he had been through in the film. So that's definitely number one, like biggest, most amazing moment. I do also love when Cap is first arriving with Scarlet Witch and
Oh,
Vision. It's
yes.
an
That was
amazing
the other scene
arrival.
my theater erupted
Yep,
in.
me too. They like go crazy. The first scene of Cap coming through. It's another just like awesome, like yes moment in the movie theater.
You just gotta erupt whenever that Avengers theme
Dude,
plays.
yeah. Oh, it's so good. And
I
again,
could,
Alan
yeah.
Silvestri inserts it at the perfect times. Like it's not overused in the film. It's put in just at the right spots to make you like just lose your shit and go crazy.
I imagine everybody's gonna do that when Hawkeye shows up, or Ronan.
Or Ronan.
Ronan and
Yeah.
Ronan. Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, oh my god. All those scenes were definitely my favorites. Thor entering Wakanda. Like seriously, that is the best entrance in the MCU. Nothing's gonna top it.
Ever.
Like I thought that scene right there locked it for visual effects at the Oscars. But apparently First Man won. But anyway, but yeah, Cap entering, that was amazing. Another entrance that I absolutely love was when Thanos enters Wakanda. Like that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, the I want that to be my entrance music whenever I play Rotten or Fresh
Well,
or something.
yeah, it's just so like intimidating. Like you are intimidated too.
That was the point where I'm like, you guys are gonna lose. You lost.
And
Yeah.
seeing him so easily just fling all of our heroes to the side as they like come at him, it's just like, I mean,
move, get out the way.
that leads to another great moment, though. I think two of our female characters, I have a little bit more of a problem with some aspects of Gamora, but I think both of our female characters actually got really nice, more emotional moments. One of which is Scarlet Witch, I think, at that Battle of Wakanda. Seeing her fully like unleashing her powers finally. I'm like, finally, yes.
Why was she up there this whole time?
Oh God, I love Okoye too. But seeing her like holding him back with 5 Infinity Stones, just like shoving him back and destroying the Soul Stone or the Mind Stone all at once was just amazing. I thought that both Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen sold it. I thought she was great in the role in this film, so that was great. And of course, I thought Gamora was great. I thought Zoe Saldana was really fantastic in the role in this film, but her moment with Thanos, obviously, when she is sacrificed, was another really great moment overall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we can't forget about the moment with Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and Okoye against Proxima Midnight.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my goodness.
I just
amazing.
loved Okoye's clips all the time. Yeah, why was she up there?
Why was she up there this whole time?
It was great.
The original question we usually put down here is least favorite scene, but there's no least favorite scene of mine. So I'm going to change it to, let's talk about the deaths in this movie, Larry. I think the most shocking death, I think, was Gamora, personally.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm definitely interested for the second movie because I'll be real. In the theater, I kind of had the same reaction as Gamora, like when he turned and she's like, "No, this isn't love. You don't love me. Like this isn't gonna work." In my head, I kind of was like, I'm interested to see if this will work. And I know there's a bunch of fan theories about maybe it wasn't actual love, and that's going to be part of why the Soul Stone does something. I don't know. We'll see. But they, again, the score, the visuals, the acting from both Josh Brolin and Zoe Saldana, everything culminated into such an impactful moment that it definitely was one of the, I would agree, it's the most shocking one. Because we start off with Heimdall and Loki, obviously, which are right off the bat, very first scene, you're like, whoa, I don't know if I was ready to jump right in.
Yeah.
But Gamora was the most like actually shocking, and I would say probably the biggest impact on me personally watching the film.
Yeah, I think the biggest impact on me was definitely the opening scene. The
Oh,
opening scene was incredibly dark and awesome. Thanos getting right into the Black Order and Hulk fighting Thanos. Oh my God. Let him
yeah,
and then freaking Ebony Maw's like, let him have his fun. And then oh my and then it culminates into Thanos getting he's already gotten the Power
yeah,
Stone and he's gotten the Space Stone, the Tesseract as
yeah,
well. Just we almost thought Tony was gonna die in
yeah.
that fight. Oh,
And again, I was at first a little bit annoyed with Doctor Strange when he surrendered, but then it was like, oh yeah, he's seen all of the outcomes. Because at first it was like, this
I
is
had
so
to
out of
defend that.
character. Yeah, it was like so out of character for a second, and then you catch up really quickly in your head of, oh, duh, he's seen like
Somebody,
everything.
yeah,
He's not so
somebody,
stupid.
yeah, somebody brought that up in their review, and I had to defend that because that's
Yeah.
one of the outcomes he saw in the 14.
Yes, he knew what he had to do, and whether that goes against what he originally said or not, he was going to do it. So I thought the entire battle on Titan, I'm still a little bit iffy on Star Lord, and what he does on Titan.
Yeah,
I
I will defend
understand
Star Lord.
it's a little bit, it's in character, but I'm like, Nebula, what are you doing, girl? Tackle him to the ground. Like, take him. You know it. You see him getting crazy, Nebula. Take him down. But that's like one of those moments of like, no, because you see Spider-Man working so hard. You see Tony working so hard. Poor little Mantis up there, like really struggling to hold him in
Yeah,
sleep. You're like,
he
no.
mourns. Why does this monster have to mourn?
Yeah, you're
Uh,
like, oh my God. Or even
I
Drax.
could
I
see
kind of was
why
like, Drax, what
Star
are you doing
Lord.
over there, Drax? Get into the action.
Yeah, I don't blame Star Lord for getting mad. His mother died. His father is a murderer, and it's girl. But yeah, if it's in that critical moment of the biggest baddie, that
Yeah.
gauntlet's almost about to come off. But yeah, I didn't hate that as much as a lot of people did. But yeah, I can
I
see
mean,
where
it
people
definitely
come
was
from.
one of my like, no. It was one of my moments where, as
No.
much as I liked the Guardians as a whole, I thought they did a lot of really stupid things in the film. Where I was like, oh my God, Guardians, you're making yourselves like the weak links because not because you can't do things, it's because you keep doing stupid things. Like even when they're coming on the planet, I was like, oh man, Drax. Can you just calm down? Like again, I guess what's her name did it, Mantis. She put him to sleep, but I'm like, Drax, I know you're dumb, but you're supposed
All
to be
right,
literal.
I'm gonna ask you this once.
Yeah.
Where is Gamora? Don't do you better. Why? Where is Gamora?
Yes.
I'll do you better. Why is Gamora?
Yeah. They had great moments, and then Guardians had moments that I was just like, oh, no, Guardians, stop it. Go into the corner, Guardians. Sit down.
Die, blanket of death. Yeah.
No, I thought Peter's shining moment, Peter Quill, was definitely when he went to kill Gamora. I thought that was like another really emotional but like really well done scene. I thought Chris Pratt killed it in that acting scene. And then the devastating realization that, oh, just kidding. I've got the reality stone. You can't do anything. Bye. Like I got her and we're out.
Sadness I sense in you, daughter. You know, I thought you always cared.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Now I think we need to talk about Thanos now.
oh yeah.
Let's talk about Thanos. What did you love the most about Thanos and what they did with him? And also let's talk about the Black Order. What were your thoughts on them as well? So start with
Yeah,
Thanos.
so Thanos, I mean, was a great villain, which is thankfully we've at least been trending toward better villains in the MCU over the last like year or so before Infinity War. But it was so cool to finally get this amazing villain who was, in many ways, the big, intimidating baddie that makes for a strong villain in a lot of cases, or it could be a disastrous villain. But adding in so much complexity. That's where you go to make your villains great, is they have a purpose, they have a backstory, and you understand, even if you don't necessarily agree with what it is and their methods, even if their method is a little bit psychotic, it at least has a purpose and it's rooted in his own backstory from his own planet, and seeing that happen to his own people, it roots him into something deeper. So it was pretty great to see that.
Josh Brolin, when I found out he was cast as Thanos, I was just excited. Josh
Yeah.
Brolin is an incredible actor.
Oh, yeah.
He could pull anything off. And Thanos, you could definitely have a little worry going in about, could this character be like Ultron, just like a quippy villain? But he really isn't. He's a scary villain who wants to blow up the world, but he has reasons for why he wants to do everything he wants to do.
Yeah.
And with Thanos, they made him the main character. He's a father as well. He took Gamora and he took Nebula he kidnapped them and all that, and he just tortured them just as their father. And when he just explains everything about the world being overpopulated and all that, and that everything should be perfectly balanced,
Yeah.
all things should be, and it makes sense. He's insane, but you understand him.
And
You
his
know where
mythology is just at random.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
I
the
know.
poor and the rich, the good, the bad, it doesn't matter. You're all put into the pool, and 50% of y'all are about to go. Just looking back at like the post-credit scene, he looked fine. It was fine for a quick little thing. Seeing how far they've come with visual effects on Thanos, amazing.
And the color changes, starting
color
from red to purple, and now to light pink.
It was just like, you could definitely be scared. You were like, CGI, kind of purpley villain. Is this going to be Apocalypse? Thankfully, no. Much better, much more well developed and rounded.
But now let's talk about the Black Order. The Black Order were intimidating as hell, especially Ebony Maw. I mean, one of my complaints with the film is that Ebony Maw dies first. He was so cool. Yeah. Like his abilities and all that, very similar to Magneto and all that. And then you see the other members of the Black Order as well. Proxima Midnight, she was a badass too. I loved her blue hair. And Corvus Glaive with that big spear, and Colobsidian, the big dwarf dude. But yeah, just talk about the Black Order.
Yeah, I think their biggest strength was just how powerful they were. They weren't just like, oh, henchmen, they weren't stormtroopers, nothing like that. They took down our Avengers team without Thanos. So it again made Thanos as a villain so much more intimidating when you're like, this is just the appetizer, y'all. Like, these are just the first round, and you got to go after Thanos next. We can't even take down his little sidekicks. What's going on? Obviously, that first battle in New York was awesome. It was so
Hail
much
me.
fun.
Hail me and rejoice. It means get lost, Squidward.
Yeah, their quips back and forth real quick.
Yeah.
Obviously, him able to take down Maud, be able to take down Doctor Strange pretty much by himself was awesome. I also, let's just do a quick shout out. Love the cape. Thought the cape was also awesome in this film.
Yes. Yeah.
Doctor Strange's cape is awesome. But just the whole thing, I do love the way most of them were defeated. Obviously, we talked about Proxima and her defeat at the female Avengers fight.
You'll never get the chance again.
And I loved even the Hulk Buster thing was funny and kind of fun, seeing that. And then the callback with like Vision saving Cap, when we kind of thought Vision was down and out. I thought all of their defeats, I do think Ebony Maws was the weaker of the defeats just because he was such an intimidating and menaceful force. I mean, it's cute to have like Spider-Man again be like, hey, remember that really old movie?
Aliens.
Let's do that.
Your powers are inconsequential compared to mine. Yeah, but the kids see more movies. Larry, this next question. Let's talk about that ending. So if you haven't seen Infinity War, guys, this is your problem because it's spoilers. But I'm sure you have. So let's talk about the ending, Larry. When you first saw this movie in theaters, first reaction. What was your reaction and just everybody's? Go run through it, man.
Yeah, so obviously we start off with Bucky, and for a second, I think you're taken aback a little bit because you're like, wait a minute, what? Even though you know that Thanos has all of the stones, takes a second to click as you see this person just like fall into dust, and you're like,
Steve.
what's going on? Hold on. And then you see it, and obviously you catch on, but it's like really, it's shocking to see, even if you're told this is what he's going to do throughout the entire film, and he accomplishes his goal and he wins in the end. It's still just alarming to watch it unfold before your eyes on the screen. I think Spidey's death in that final was my favorite.
Oh.
I know it's stereotypical maybe to say that, but it was so good and so like, what? This is horrible. Oh my God.
Oh, so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, what? And I think it was particularly shocking because as we were building up to Infinity War, all the talk was about Tony or Cap, who's gonna die, much like it is for Endgame. Tony and Cap, those are your two options. One of them has to die. So we get that fake out moment of Tony dying for a second of like, oh, here it comes. Tony's about to die. And then he does it. And you're like, oh, okay. But then half of the cast dies, and you're like, what? Nobody was talking about Black Panther dying in Infinity War. God. Like, wait a minute.
Like, I've never been to a movie like that shocking of an outbreak of an ending, like, where everybody was just talking for 10 to 20 straight minutes about this movie. And like, oh my God, the moments of Thanos snapping his fingers, everybody gasped. And then it just transitions to Thanos in this orange world, which is possibly the Soul Stone, talking to young Gamora and all that. She said, "Did you do it? What did it cost? Everything." Everything.
Getting to see our villain just sitting out there getting his goal, like relaxing, looking out on his mission accomplished. It's like, what is this?
And then everybody just started turning to dust. I was just like, no, what? No. Oh, what? Drax, no. And then, it just culminates. It's a Thanos just going into his hut, going into his nice paradise, like he said, and just sitting by the sunset, and then it just turns to black, and then directed by, no, damn it, and then just everybody talking.
That fade to black was so good with that score, how they modulated the theme. Oh,
they made it like a Nolan end credit scene, like The Dark Knight or something. So now let's talk about rankings now, Larry. Where does Infinity War rank in your MCU ranking?
Yeah, so Infinity War, I think it's about 4th in my MCU ranking. So I think part of it is I'm one of those nostalgia people. I'm going to keep it real. I put some nostalgia glasses on sometimes, but I don't know that any MCU film can ever quite beat the original Avengers for me. It just had everything I needed from that film.
What's your top 4?
So number 1 is Avengers. Number 2 is Captain America: Civil War. Number 3, just barely, 3 and 4 are pretty close, but is Black Panther, with 4 being Avengers: Infinity War. And then I think 5 is Ragnarok. So that's my top 5.
Okay, so my top 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy is my number 5. My number 4 is Avengers, the first Avengers. Okay. Number 3 is Winter Soldier. Number 2 is Civil War, and number 1 is Infinity War.
Yeah,
my favorite.
I thought I remembered it was your favorite out of all of them.
So it took me, I think, 3 or 2 rewatches to say Infinity War was my favorite, and so I've seen Civil War a bunch of times and Winter Soldier, and I think Infinity War just culminated everything I wanted for this whole 10-year buildup for the MCU, and making an intimidating villain a great overall theater experience, and just something that has impacted me, because my favorite film of all time is Empire Strikes Back, and this is the Oh really? Yeah. This is the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU. So now, Larry, let's talk about the final question. How will Infinity War affect the Endgame?
Well, I mean,
this is the most important one that's going to affect the Endgame.
Yeah, it's pretty much part 1 to Endgame. But obviously, we set everything up. We set up where the world we're in coming into Infinity War or into Endgame was set by Infinity War. Now it's just going to be how do we bring these characters back, and how do we go from here to defeat Thanos? Obviously, we left on that ending where I'm like, okay, I need to get back into the theater and keep going. Like, what in the world? But yeah, we left on that open. Actually, that's what's really good about the opening, like talking about connecting to Endgame and here, is it was both open-ended yet conclusive all at once. It wasn't a part one where we literally just leave on a cliffhanger and are like, oh my God, like what? You leave on a cliffhanger of sorts, but it is its own complete film. Thanos completes his mission, he wraps it up, we're done. Like, if this was the end, it could be the end. It wouldn't be a happy ending that we all wanted, but it could have been the end and be done. And that's what's great. But obviously, yeah. Yeah, I guess it just like really intrigues you. Are they going to use the Infinity Stones? How is Captain Marvel going to get folded into it, since we haven't seen her interact outside of that trailer and the end credit? Oh, spoiler alert. Sorry for Captain Marvel. I forgot that was much more new. It's like, oh shit, that one's too new to be just throwing out spoilers like that. Yeah, but we haven't really seen her outside of the trailer, or a couple instances really interact with anyone else from the team. So it's a lot of intrigue heading into Endgame. Obviously, all pretty much everything set up by Infinity War.
The main Avengers, or the main ones that are back, including Rocket, Okoye, Captain Marvel, Hawkeye, some other people, Ant-Man as well. And so you have to think about how they're going to bring these characters back. So I'm definitely curious to see of when Steve and Tony when they are going to reunite, and how they're going to be the leaders of bringing back the new core Avengers. And so they're going to use time travel as well, and they're going to go back in time using quantum realm as well, and using time travel to go back to the past MCU films. I'd love to see that, of them building a new gauntlet, getting all the Infinity Stones they need to make a new gauntlet. Starting with Captain America, the First Avenger, going back in that time, World War II, to get the Tesseract, and then going back in time to Thor the Dark World to get the Ether, the Reality Stone, and then going to Guardians of the Galaxy to get the Orb, which is the Power Stone, and then going back to Doctor Strange to get the Time Stone and the Soul Stone as well, and the Mind Stone from Vision. They're going to make a new gauntlet, of course, and Nebula is going to be one of them to wield the gauntlet, just like in the comic books. And Captain Marvel and Hulk, I love to see Hulk wield the gauntlet so he can get his revenge on Thanos, because that's what I want. I think Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and Hawkeye are going to sacrifice themselves and die to save the new core Avengers they need to save. And so I think Bucky is going to take the new Captain America shield from Steve Rogers. Well, that's what I think is going to happen. And so the new core Avengers will happen, including Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, and the Guardians. Woo! Boom!
Mapped out.
Oh, man, and that's it. End credit scenes, I have no idea. I don't want to speculate.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I almost kind of feel it would be kind of appropriate for this one not even to have any, maybe. I don't know, maybe for Spider-Man, if they have something to plug for that.
Some people speculated maybe a little promo sneak peek of something for Fox. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that could be that. Oh, God.
X-Men, the Fantastic
Four. People would, like, freak out if they just, like, randomly...
No, I don't care right now.
Like, wait. I wasn't even thinking about Fox right now. Deadpool pops up into the end credit.
So, yeah, that's the answers to our questions, guys, for how... all the answers for Avengers Infinity War. That was a lot, but we want to hear from you guys down below in the comments section. What are your answers to these questions? And let us know your opinions on our answers. Are we wrong? Are you right? Let us know down below. We want to know what you guys think. And Larry, thank you so much, man, for talking Avengers Infinity War with me and answering those questions about Infinity War. And Larry, before we close off this episode, tell my subscribers where they can find you on all your social media.
Certainly. Thank you again so much, Ryan, for having me on. I love collabing and obviously talking about the MCU. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all at LC Screen Talk.
Yep, that's where you guys can find Larry. LC Screen Talk, all his channel links are in the description below. Check out his YouTube. Larry does a lot of movie reviews over there, a lot of Blu-ray hunting videos, which I like watching as well. So yeah, if you love movies and all that, definitely go check out Larry's channel because he is awesome and hilarious. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching this episode of the Endgame series. Stay tuned to the next episode because we're getting into Ant-Man and the Wasp. And joining me for that is Devin Pilgrim. So look forward to that episode. And to end off the series, it's going to be Captain Marvel. And it's going to be a YouTuber who you have no idea who it is. His name is Sean Chandler Talks About. I don't know if anybody knows who that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Sean Chandler will end off the series with Captain Marvel. So look forward to those last episodes coming up. And thank you guys once again for watching this episode of the Endgame series. If you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to Larry, once again, channel in the description below as well. And all my social media links are in the description down below. Click that notification bell on your way out. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, Thanos.